He's the former president and publisher of the Sun Herald, and now he's on the radio. Welcome to Coast Vue with Ricky Matthews on SuperTalk Mississippi Gulf Coast 103.1.
Welcome to Coast Vue, the show that celebrates the men and women who are making coastal Mississippi such a great place to live, work, and play. Hey, yesterday I honored the two FBI agents who were recently killed in the Miami area while they were working on child sex crimes. I should also point out that last week we also suffered a tremendous loss here in coastal Mississippi. A law enforcement officer in Hancock County was killed in the line of duty. Lieutenant Michael Bote was shot and killed while responding to a disturbance in the Nikkei's area. I have heard nothing but good things about Lieutenant Bote. What a loss this is. He had been in law enforcement for 20 years and was also an Air Force veteran. What a loss of a committed coastal Mississippians. It just didn't need to happen. And the risks that they take every day are just, they really come to light when you have a situation like this. I just want to say God bless the Boute family and those in law enforcement and the law enforcement community who lost a friend. We're going to be extending an invitation to Sheriff Ricky Adams to join me on Coast Vue in the near future to talk about Lieutenant Boute, and also the risks that they take on a daily basis. So anyway, let's turn the page now to my friend Robbie D'angelo and say good morning. How are you, buddy?
I am fantastic, Ricky. How are you doing this morning, man?
For those in the YouTube audience and Facebook audience, you can see that Robbie and I got the memo today for the black workout shirt. I usually wear my Coast Vue shirt, but it's coming on with you, and I finished a workout, and I thought, well, I'm just going to leave my shirt on, man.
You might as well stay in it.
That's where we are. But listen, I want to tell you this. I really look forward to getting together with you. I love spending time with you because you're so focused and so positive, and you're living by example. And it makes a difference in my life. I think one of the keys to success is surrounding yourself with people who are inspirational, people who raise your bar, not lower your bar. We'll talk more about that this morning. And I think whether it's your physical goals or whether it's your personal goals or career goals, seeking inspiration from others is really one of the keys to success, isn't it?
100%. I mean, you are a product of those you surround yourself by, and I'm a firm believer in that. And it's one of the things that I find is really crazy that people don't think enough about is when we talk about mental diet, like we have so many times, Ricky, the things you put into your mind will directly come out of you. So your environment is a huge part of your mental diet.
I've had one of my most popular quotes was from Zig Ziglar. I remember when I was coming up, I read so many of his books. I mean, not only was he a motivational speaker, but he wrote a book called Top Performance, one of the best management books I think ever written. But he said this. He said, "You are what you are and who you are because of what goes into your mind. You change what you are and who you are by changing what goes into your mind." That's so true, isn't it?
As a man thinketh in his heart, so is he. Another old school one by James Allen that he talks about watering your garden of your mind, and that is who you become.
Yeah. So, okay, we started the new year, and one of the things I did was sort of issue a challenge. I said, let's make the next 6 months the best 6 months of your life as we think about going into the post-pandemic world with the best versions of ourselves. And I think everyone starts the new year with great intentions, and then they start to kind of fall off the wagon along the way. And before they know it, they're back in the same rut again. It's hard to stay focused on, and as a human optimization coach, you're focused on aligning the body with sort of the mind and the soul, bringing it all together, because you need that in order to reach your goals. That there needs to be connectivity, and it's so easy, man. People go into their work offices, and they have this fake light, and they don't really like what they're doing, and they come home and they eat wrong, and they sit in front of the TV, and it becomes sort of just a routine that's not healthy. You see it all the time, don't you?
Absolutely, I do. And I think it's almost, a problem that's getting worse right now is people aren't living for a purpose anymore. They're living in this reactionary state where they're not taking charge of their life. They're letting what's going on in the world affect what they're doing and dictate literally every decision they're making, versus waking up every day with a purpose and a vision for what you want to create in your life and making decisions that align with that.
It's so interesting. You and I have talked about this before, but this purpose is really important. I often say that, it's important to live in the moment. I don't worry too much about what happened yesterday. I plan for tomorrow, but I really work hard to live in the moment. And I always have. I mean, people who know me know that about me, that but living in the moment, you still need something to fight for. I mean, in my physical goals, what I fight for is the health to be able to enjoy going offshore fishing with my sons, and being able to go hiking with my family, or going hunting, which we hunt in the hills, and you have to be in shape to be able to do that. But I have a zest for life, and one of the reasons why I've been on this lifelong mission to try to stay healthy is that I want to live a long time. I want to enjoy life, and that's what I'm fighting for. I think the people who are successful in their endeavors that you work with, they have similar things. They have something they're fighting for, don't they?
They do. And you hear this word thrown around a lot, but people don't really fully grasp how powerful it is. And it's what you just talked about, alignment. And when we talk about alignment, you have aligned your actions and your decisions with an end purpose. And where a lot of people get confused on that, and I love the fact you just said this, is yes, we have these grand visions and these grand goals we want to accomplish, but then we take them down to the power of now, and we have to take action on those every single day. And those actions we take in today are in alignment with our bigger vision.
Will Smith is a pretty motivational dude, and he has such a zest for life, and he's someone that I pay a lot of attention to. But one of the things he said is that here it's as simple as doing this. Here's what I believe. This is what I believe, and I'm willing to die for it.
I'm willing to die for it.
Here's what I believe, and I'm willing. The other thing he says is that, and I won't be able to quote him exactly, but he said that if you decide you're going to build a wall, look at your own physical fitness as a wall. You don't build the wall by just building the wall. You build it by laying one perfect brick at a time, and eventually you build a wall. And we tend to go after this wall, and it's so daunting that we end up kind of giving up. When in fact, all we really needed to do is lay that one brick, one day at a time, day in, day out. Before you know it, a year has gone by, as in your case, where you've lost a pound a week, and before you know it, you're a lean, mean fighting machine.
Mm-hmm. And that's one of the things we tell people all the time is set micro goals that align to your bigger goals, but literally waking up every day and looking at what can I do today? And one of the questions I love asking people, especially when they kind of feel stuck and they're feeling like hopeless in their next direction, I just ask them a simple question. What's the greatest thing you can do right now to take a positive step towards your goal? Don't think about anything other than something you can do in this exact moment to create a micro win to move you forward.
Well, I pay a lot of attention to Joe Rogan. I think his podcasts are incredible. And he has a lot to say about personal motivation, and he lives by example, the same as you live by example. And when he gets, and I'm going to put these are his words, not mine, but I relate to them. I understand them. But he said that too many of us are self-destructive and weak. We're not rational and disciplined in what we need to do. And that we tend to accept sort of this yo-yo effect in our diets. And that what we really need to do in order to sustain it is not sabotage ourselves. That just stay focused, as Will Smith pointed out, and day in, day out, just staying focused. And the thing is, man, things that you can benefit from, things that are great to have, are not always easy to get. And so it means that, when I go work out, some days when I go work out, man, I feel terrible, but I still do it. And when I get done, I feel so good that I did it. And it has a snowballing effect. The more I do it, actually, the less hard work it is, the more it feels right. And finding that place, that balance between that mental framework where I feel great about it and the physical framework where I whatever those endorphins or whatever it is, I feel that as well. When I'm in that moment, gosh, I feel like, man, this is why I do it.
Yeah, I mean, you touched on two important things right there. The first one is a phenomenal book called The Winner Effect. And it talks about the feeling you get when you start creating wins in your life and using those wins to propel you to the next one. And that momentum you get from feeling good because you just created a win. And the next one that I think is so important is so many people rely on emotions to get them going. They rely on motivation to get them off the couch. And I'll be honest with you, there's plenty of days, even though this is part of my profession, I don't feel like going to the gym. I did not feel like waking up at 5:30 this morning and going and doing my cardio. It was not something I wanted to do, but I took an action, and that action created an emotion. I was so happy that I got up and so happy that I went and did that. So a lot of people get that confused. They think emotions create actions, when in fact, it's the other way around. Action creates the positive emotions.
It really does. This is Robbie D'Angelo. He's a human optimization coach and a regular visitor with us here on Coast Vue. He's also someone I enjoy connecting with because he sets off such a positive energy, and he's an inspiring person. And I think we should all inspire to have inspiring people around us because it helps us take our game to the next level. When we come back, we're going to continue the conversation.
Listen live or on demand and watch episodes of Coast Vue on your laptop, desktop, or on your phone or tablet by going to supertalkmsgulfcoast.com. Coast Vue on SuperTalk 103.1 is brought to you by J. Allen Toyota on I-10 exit 38 Gulfport. See all the incredible inventory at allentoyota.com. And remember, when you think Toyota, think J. Allen Toyota.
106.3 Casino Radio is here. Tune to 106.3 to discover all of our must-see attractions and everything that's happening at our 12 incredible casino resorts. Where to eat, where to stay, what to do, and where to play. 106.3 Casino Radio has you covered with everything you need to know to help make your visit here to the coast one you'll never forget. Turn on 106.3 Casino Radio or listen now on our website, CasinoRadio1063.com.
When COVID started, Gulf Coast Business Furniture and Supply began stocking hard-to-find PPE items. When Amazon and other mega internet companies were out of stock or inflating prices, Gulf Coast Business Furniture and Supply was providing local schools and businesses vital PPE supplies at fair prices. When your office needs PPE supplies, office furniture, or products to keep your business operating, consider Gulf Coast Business Furniture and Supply. We sell that too. Buy local.
Feeling down? Here's your prescription for a daily dose of good news and positive vibes. Good Things with Rebecca Turner. Every afternoon, Rebecca highlights all the good things happening right here in the state you call home. Daily exposure to Good Things with Rebecca Turner may cause smiling, feelings of positivity, happiness, and even laughter. When you experience these symptoms, tell your friends to listen. Okay. Weekdays starting at 2 p.m. here on SuperTalk Mississippi and now on Amazon Alexa devices. If Alexa's part of your life, you've got one more way to access SuperTalk. SuperTalk Mississippi is now available on Amazon Alexa devices. Once enabled, just say, Alexa, play SuperTalk Mississippi at any time and start listening. It's that easy. Just one more way to stay informed and connected with your state. Learn more at supertalk.fm/Alexa. SuperTalk Mississippi. SuperTalk Mississippi. Now available on Amazon Alexa devices.
Hey South Mississippi, the future has arrived. It's 2021, and at J. Allen Toyota, we're here to serve you. Want to let you know that we have Allen's lifetime warranty on every new Toyota we sell. That also comes with Toyota Care. That's 2 years and 25,000 miles of complimentary maintenance. We have a great rental department. Our service department's ready to take care of your current vehicle. We're rolling out J. Allen certified pre-owned for 2021. You got to come to I-10 exit 38 right here in Gulfport. You're going to love what we have to offer. When you think Toyota, think Allen Toyota.
SuperTalk.fm has a new look and is more informative than ever with expanded Mississippi news coverage, the latest Mississippi weather, Mississippi sports, and of course, the talk that's important to you. Every show, every podcast, and every late-breaking story. Constantly updating the news the second new developments happen. All in one place. The new SuperTalk.fm. Talking to the people that help make the coast such a unique place to live. This is Coast View with Ricky Matthews on SuperTalk Mississippi Gulf Coast 103.1.
Welcome back to Coast View. We're having a conversation with human optimization coach Robbie D'Angelo, and when we went to the break, we were making the connection between, having the goal, the mental desire to go do it, and then doing it ultimately feeds back to your mental desire. And it's just sort of this snowballing effect that occurs, finding that sweet spot where you really get the feeling of happiness, because it has that kind of effect, and you feel better when those things are working together. You can find a new you. You can really find your happiness, can't you, Robbie?
You absolutely can. I mean, the amount of endorphins that get released when you're living a healthy life, it's just incredible. And actually, new studies are pointing to brain health. There's so many carryover effects to pushing your body, pushing yourself, and just doing what humans are put on this earth to do, which is to move and live and fully express what it means to be alive.
Well, that's, again, the human. So what we're hunter-gatherers. We're supposed to be out on the plains looking for our food and doing all this stuff. And then somewhere along the way, corporate America came along, and we got these fluorescent lights, and we're all sitting in front of our computers, and it's having all these impacts. A lot of people are doing work that they don't really want to do. I mean, one of the things I always aspired to do in my work is do something that I really wanted to do. I wanted to make a difference. I was willing to lead very difficult strategic initiatives because I knew they would make a difference. In some way they would make a difference. And I always sought that, something that I really enjoyed. And by the way, when I stopped enjoying it, I surprised a lot of people when I retired early. I was doing really well in my career, but I decided that the key to my health and happiness was, this is the time. But I made the decision to retire. It took 2 years and 6 months to actually pull it off, but I still pulled it off. And went on to do some other things in my life. But, that's really important. People do get caught in that rut, though, don't they?
They absolutely do. I mean, the expression I like using is, a lot of times in life, we get to a point where we're drowning in priorities. We have the mortgage, the car payments, the kids, and we have all these priorities in our life, and we literally feel like we're drowning in them, and we feel like there's no decision we can make because those weigh us down so much, and we get real myopically focused on those priorities, and it keeps us from doing what we really want to do in life.
Hey, Robbie, I read this thing not long ago, and it talked about some of the keys to success, and these 3 things that they mentioned. They went into great detail about each one of them, but it's something that I do, and I've done it for over 30 years. But number 1 is they weigh themselves daily. Some people say don't do that. You may not say you should do that, but I'm always aware of where my weight is, and from one day to the next, I'm just always making adjustments. As I told you, in 30 years, my weight hasn't changed 10 pounds one way or the other. So that part has worked. The other thing is they really understand food. And so they understand balance of food. They understand how to measure calories, and they know macros, and they are aware of the quantity that's coming into their bodies and the kinds of things that are coming into their bodies. And the last thing they do is they exercise. They really pay a lot. So you and I talk a lot about sort of the mental framework and the physical framework, but eating properly cannot be overstated. I mean, like for example, the person that's in their corporate job that they don't really like, and they're kind of depressed about it, and they go to, eat a big pizza at lunch, and then they get back and they're lost all their energy because they've had this like sugar high that has occurred from the carbohydrate intake. And then they get home and they eat more carbohydrates and they don't exercise. And man, you do that every day for a long period of time, man, the impact it has on inflammation in your body is incredible. And to eat right, to understand what it's like not to have inflammation in your body, is another really key to success, isn't it?
It absolutely is. And here's the deal. You don't put 87 octane in a Lamborghini. Like, when you look at your human body, it is an amazing machine built for performance, yet most of us are not even putting 87 octane in. That would actually be a change for the good. We're not getting the regular oil changes. We don't take care of our bodies even as much as we take care of our dogs and our cars. Yet it's the vehicle we have. And when you look at what you talk about success, how do you achieve success if you're tired all the time? How do you achieve success if your body is literally breaking down 24/7 and you're not repairing it? So we have to look at all these things. And when it comes to inflammation, honestly, it's the number 1 cause of aging and disease. So if it's the number 1 cause of aging and disease, shouldn't that be something important we look at? Yeah, you can't stop inflammation, but you can definitely slow it down. And you can take proactive measures to reduce inflammation in your life through proper food, exercise, sleep, hydration, those core things that you know you should be doing anyway.
So, Robbie, what causes inflammation? I mean, talk more about that.
So inflammation is your body's kind of rejection to something you're doing to it. Like, for instance, when you work out, you actually do cause a little bit of inflammation in your body, but it's good. A lot of times what I see with a lot of people I work with is the foods we eat. The foods we eat literally go into our body, and our body's like, what did you just put inside of me? Now I have to go process this. And it's literally the actual cells in your body becoming inflamed, which can lead to things like joints hurting. It can lead to gut microbiome issues, which affects everything in your body. If you ever woken up with brain fog before, that's actually a serious sign of inflammation. If you ever just feel groggy, if you get that afternoon lull, a lot of times that's inflammation. And it literally is the number one cause of aging and disease.
Yeah, another thing that Joe Rogan talks about, if you haven't watched a Joe Rogan podcast, you got to pay attention to it because he talks to this wide range of people, and he often has people who have written books about things like inflammation and aging and exercise and those other things. But another thing he said is that you think of your body as an ecosystem. I mean, if you think of the world as an ecosystem, and what happens when there's too much pollution and we're not taking care of the water and all. I mean, but we don't tend to think of our bodies as an ecosystem that we have to really learn about and understand, what does it take to have it optimizing? What does it take in terms of exercise and sleep and water? As you pointed, water is one of the most important things we can do, and food and all. We don't study that the way we might do things in our career, that we should pay attention to that.
Well, a big problem that I see is people no longer see the problem as the problem until it becomes a serious problem. And a lot of times people don't know what it feels like to feel good anymore. For instance, like if you would just change your diet for a week and start just walking 10 minutes a day and eating clean, by the end of that week, you start feeling better. Your joints hurt less. You have more energy. You have more mental clarity. All your senses start brightening up. But people a lot of times forget how good it feels just to feel good. And that's why they don't quite put this together, is because they forgot what that feels like. They're so used to living in low energy. I mean, look at the energy drink addiction that is overcoming our country right now. They're so used to feeling like crap that they think that's the new normal. I hate using that term, but that's the truth of it. And they don't realize that there is another side that they could tap into.
One of the things that has worked for me over a number of years has been intermittent fasting. I'll usually, most days I won't eat breakfast, and I'll eat a kind of a light, healthy lunch. I would try to eat around 5 or 6, and then I don't try to, I might eat some strawberries after that. That's it. No more snacking or anything like that. But intermittent fasting has really worked for me. And a lot of folks say that the longer you increase that window, combined with sort of low carb intake, can really have a very beneficial impact.
Right. So intermittent fasting, keto, they're all tools in the tool belt. It's just finding which tool works for which job. And the analogy I use for people, and it's beautifully simple, is if you go to your dentist and they're a good dentist and you ask them which brand of toothpaste you should use, they're going to tell you to use the one you use the most. So when it comes to a tool like intermittent fasting, keto, CrossFit, or whatever it is you decide to do, whatever modality you decide to do, use the one you're going to use the most.
Yeah, what they say is the biggest challenge is adhering.
That's 100%. And that's why I tell people you have to enjoy what you're doing. So like, for instance, when people ask me, should I do keto? The number one question I ask them is, can you do that the rest of your life? 90% of the time they tell me no. And I'm like, well, there's your answer.
There's a lot to learn from it, though. There's a lot to learn from when you start talking about enriched carbohydrates and what happens when you eliminate that. Now, you're high carb now, but you're in training, but are you staying away from enriched flours?
I only eat one ingredient foods. So if I'm eating a carb, it's a rice, potato, or something like that. That's my kind of general rule that I like sticking to, is just farm to table.
Yeah. Well, that's good. So lots of proteins, you eat a lot of vegetables.
Proteins, veggies, and carbs, healthy fats. Like I said, it's just the way we're meant to eat, the way our ancestors ate, the way that comes straight from the farm is the way that most people should be eating.
Hey, here's what we're going to do. We're out of time for this segment, but we're going to have you back in a couple of weeks. I'm interested in learning. I want to compare notes with you on what your morning routine is. What do you do in the mornings? Because I find that people who are motivated to have a healthy life, they have routines that they're involved in. And the other thing is how often do you sort of fall off the wagon? You can have a cheat day. That's okay. Have a cheat day. But just get back on your plan again. You got to stay on your plan. Anyway, Robbie, it's been a pleasure to visit with you. This has been Robbie D'Angelo, Human Optimization Coach, and we'll see him again in a couple of weeks.
Ricky, thank you so much, man. I hope you enjoyed it.
You bet, buddy.
Broadcasting safe and sound from the coastal Mississippi studios, this is Coast View with Ricky Matthews on SuperTalk 103.1.
Hey, South Mississippi, the future has arrived. It's 2021, and at J. Allen Toyota, we're here to serve you. Want to let you know that we have Allen's lifetime warranty on every new Toyota we sell. That also comes with Toyota Care. That's 2 years and 25,000 miles of complimentary maintenance. We have a great rental department. Our service department's ready to take care of your current vehicle. We're rolling out J. Allen certified pre-owned for 2021. You got to come to I-10 exit 38 right here in Gulfport. You're going to love what we have to offer. When you think Toyota, think Allen Toyota.
SuperTalk.fm has a new look and is more informative than ever with expanded Mississippi news coverage, the latest Mississippi weather, Mississippi sports, and of course, the talk that's important to you. Every show, every podcast, and every late-breaking story. Constantly updating the news the second new developments happen. All in one place. The new SuperTalk.fm.
106.3 Casino Radio is here. Tune to 106.3 to discover all of our must-see attractions and everything that's happening at our 12 incredible casino resorts. Where to eat, where to stay, what to do, and where to play. 106.3 Casino Radio has you covered with everything you need to know to help make your visit here to the coast one you'll never forget. Turn on 106.3 Casino Radio or listen now on our website, CasinoRadio1063.com.
Hey, I'm Steve Azar, and you never know who or what you'll hear when I spend a Mississippi Minute with my friends. Talking to Paul Thorne, Mississippi true treasure, really incredible recording artist, singer, songwriter. Has been doing it a long time, doing it the right way.
It's almost like a Forrest Gump thing because I was a boxer, / I worked in a furniture factory, / I had a gig 2 nights a week playing my acoustic guitar in a pizza restaurant, / I was in the National Guard, and
wow.
All this stuff was going on at the same time. / I had a writing contract with Rick Hall and Fame.
In a Mississippi Minute. Be sure to check out In a Mississippi Minute with me, Steve Azar, right here on SuperTalk Mississippi, the SuperTalk Mississippi app, and now available on iTunes, Google Play, and Stitcher.
Thousands of Bulldog fans have subscribed to the Thunder and Lightning podcast. Have you? On each episode, Brian Haydad and Joel Coleman give you an inside look at your Mississippi State Bulldogs. The Thunder and Lightning podcast is free and available on demand at supertalk.fm and on your smartphone. Just search for Thunder and Lightning on iTunes, Google Play, or anywhere you listen to podcasts. Thunder and Lightning from SuperTalk, Mississippi, covering the Bulldogs like no one else. What decisions are being made by state lawmakers, and how will they affect you, your family, and community? If you listen, you'll know. SuperTalk Mississippi, the SuperTalk app, and at supertalk.fm.
Hi, I'm Billy Kinder, host of Big Billy Kinder Outdoors here. The show Saturdays at 1, right here on SuperTalk Mississippi. Turkeys, whitetail, Grenada Lake crappie, or Gulfport redfish. We enjoy it all, especially when you're in camp with us on SuperTalk Mississippi.
Heart attacks and strokes don't stay home, so don't avoid the ER out of anxiety. Don't die of doubt. If you have an emergency, call 911. When seconds count, the hospital is the safest place to be.
Everyone knows the only thing better than pizza is free pizza, and right now, buy a $10 gift certificate to CiCi's Pizza for only $5. It's like buying a pizza and getting a pizza for free. Go to our station's website or Facebook, look for the Half Off Deals logo to purchase this amazing deal right now.
If Alexa's part of your life, you've got one more way to access SuperTalk. SuperTalk Mississippi is now available on Amazon Alexa devices. Once enabled, just say, Alexa, play SuperTalk Mississippi at any time and start listening. It's that easy. Just one more way to stay informed and connected with your state. Learn more at supertalk.fm/Alexa. SuperTalk Mississippi. SuperTalk Mississippi. Now available on Amazon Alexa devices.
When COVID started, Gulf Coast Business Furniture and Supply began stocking very hard-to-find PPE items to make our community a safer place. When Amazon and other mega internet companies were out of stock or inflating prices, Gulf Coast Business Furniture and Supply was providing local schools and businesses vital PPE supplies at fair prices. They were even sending thousands of dollars of PPE supplies free to local schools in need with help from other local business leaders. The next time your office needs PPE supplies, office furniture, or products to keep your business operating, consider a local company that supports your ball teams, cheerleaders, and area homeless. Consider Gulf Coast Business Furniture and Supply, the local guys that keep your prices fair, your service and selection excellent, and your health our business. Gulf Coast Business Furniture and Supply. We sell that too. Buy local.
He's the former president and publisher of the Sun Herald, and now he's on the radio. Welcome to Coast View with Ricky Matthews on SuperTalk Mississippi Gulf Coast 103.1.
Welcome back to Coast View. I really enjoy my conversation with Robbie D'angelo. I always do. I mean, he's so inspiring. He's someone who motivates me to sort of stay on my track to meet my physical and personal goals, and he's just a great inspiration. If you missed that conversation, incidentally, you can go to the SuperTalk Gulf Coast Facebook page, the SuperTalk Mississippi Facebook page, the SuperTalk Mississippi YouTube page, or go to your favorite podcast, and it will be there as well. So thank you for listening. And now we're going to turn the page and go to my new friend, Amber Olsen. Amber actually is the founder of the MSD Foundation after her daughter Willow was born, and we'll talk more about what that's about in just a second. But her drive and determination are incredibly inspiring, and she's really the living example of a mother who was dealt a very challenging blow, but made a commitment to make a difference in other people's lives who face similar circumstances. So without any further ado, Amber, thank you for finally coming on Coast View.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. I'm excited.
I say finally because we actually connected months ago, and one thing led to another. We didn't get it scheduled, but we finally got this thing scheduled, and I think you'll be a great inspiration to a lot of people. We'll introduce Willow here in just a second if you'd like, but before we do that, you came to coastal Mississippi about 23 years ago. What brought you here?
Yeah, so my parents retired here. I am from Montana, and they wanted to go to warmer weather, and so they retired in Bay St. Louis, and I graduated from college from the University of Montana and decided to come down and see what the coast was all about, and fell in love when I got down here.
By the way, my family and I love Montana. We spend time in Whitefish and, enjoy the Glacier National Parks and all. Man, just what a beautiful part of the country. Where from Montana are you?
Missoula. So I grew up just outside of Missoula, but Whitefish is like one of the best places on earth, I think. It's awesome. Yeah,
it really is. What a terrific place, and the people there are amazing. I'm sure you found a good they were complimentary. The culture you came from to the people of coastal Mississippi.
Yes, it's a great group of people down here, especially I think with the combination of the military. I mean, it's just an awesome group.
So I saw that you were involved in human resources. How did you get into that?
So after Katrina, I started my own business, and I did recruiting for my previous company. And so I really wanted to help companies find good talent because that's kind of the key. And so I started a franchise called Next Staff, and we do staffing for other companies here on the coast. So we work with most of the companies here and find people for them.
Well, awesome. I'm a former CEO. I was a CEO the last 15 or 16 years of my career. And I found having search firms were one of the most important things we could do. Once you get a good one that really works hard to qualify the people, make sure that the candidate they're presenting to you is someone who's going to be a good fit in your organization with the right skill sets and experience, that, man, you guys can be worth your weight in gold. I'm sure that's what you try to accomplish, huh?
Exactly. I mean, it's, you know, people are your most important assets. So you got to spend some time finding the right one and the good fit. You know, I think that's a big part of it, trying to understand the company's culture.
So you live in Ocean Springs?
Yes. We've lived 20 years, maybe. Yeah. Love Ocean Springs.
Tell me about your family. Tell me about your family before Willow was born. And then we'll talk about Willow and her situation. So tell me about your family before Willow was born.
So I met my husband, Tom, here on the coast. He is retired Navy. So when we met, he was still in the Navy. He was stationed at Pascagoula. And then he's been with the Seabees and kind of gone back and forth, went to New Orleans. And he was in Iraq when my first daughter, Kylie, was born with the Seabees. So she was born, my first child, and everything was great. She's now 18 years old. Then we had our second child, Jenna, after Katrina. And everything fine there. So living the normal life, you know, he and I were both self-employed, just doing our thing. And then in 2013, I got pregnant with Willow, and she was born and really seemed fine. I mean, there was no problems when she was born. She was a little delayed, kind of putting the Cheerios in the bottle. Every time we went to the pediatrician and filled out the form, she was a little bit delayed, and I had, you know, 2 older children, and I kept comparing it. And the doctor's like, look, she's, you know, don't compare her to your older children. All children are different. Don't worry about it. But when she was right before her second birthday, you know, I went to him and I said, there's something going on. She had not spoken. So Kylie, my firstborn, you know, talked, said flower like at 9 months, and Willow had never talked, even really made any sounds. And then she was also starting to stumble a little bit. She walked like she walked, and she ran, but she did it like Frankenstein, and she held her arms out, and she would have trouble getting upstairs, or she stumbled. And so he said, okay. And he referred us to a neurologist, and that was Dr. Marcus Lee, who is fascinating. You should have him on your show. He is a local neurologist who has had a child with a rare condition. And we went and saw him, and he said, you know, the regression bothers me. And he did a genetic test. And that genetic test came back with this very rare condition called multiple sulfatase deficiency. He'd never seen it. Most doctors have never seen it. It's so rare. So we had Googled it, and he told us about it. And, you know, it's a rare regressive condition similar to Alzheimer's. And so Willow was going to lose all of her skills. She wouldn't be able to walk or move, really. And most kids died before they were 10 years old, is what he told us. So
let me say it back. Multiple sulfatase deficiency.
Mm-hmm.
What is that exactly?
So basically, every cell in your body has a thing called a lysosome, and the lysosome's job is to take the trash out of the cell. And it does that through enzymes, and her enzymes are deficient. There's multiple enzymes that are deficient, and so they don't take the trash out of the cell. The cell builds up with trash, and then it kind of pops like a balloon, and it dies. So the cells are dying all throughout her body. I mean, they started dying when she was born. We just didn't know about it. And slowly over time, that's what breaks down her functioning to where she can't move or do anything.
It's an amazing diagnosis, and it's a devastating diagnosis for parents. And by the way, I see for those on the Facebook, I see your beautiful girls behind you on the wall.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
My 2 older, and then this is Willow.
So once you came into the realization that you were facing something, what you discovered is that there wasn't a lot of enough research about it, enough going on around it. Tell me about what led you to decide to start your own foundation and to work so hard to find a solution to this terrible disease so that kids can live a normal life?
Well, I think, it's lack of acceptance is part of the problem. I just can't accept it. And my husband and I couldn't. And so when we went to see a specialist in Jackson, at Children's in Jackson, he was the one who knew about the disease. We went up there thinking, okay, we're going to go to St. Jude. He's going to send us somewhere. We're going to go do something. We're going to the NIH. We're going somewhere for a clinical trial. I understand that there's, no correct treatment or treatment that works, but there's some experimental something somewhere that they can give to her. My mom has stage 4 cancer. And so, it is a terminal disease, but she had chemo twice and it worked, so that's what I expected in my head. That's the knowledge that I had. And so when we get up there and he's like, I'm sorry, you take her home, because we're like, what do we do? Where do we go? And he's like, you take her home and you be with her and watch her die, basically. I mean, he said palliative care, but that's basically hospice, watching her die. And that was just unacceptable. It's just unacceptable. It still is for me. And I cannot explain the torture that these children go through every day of their lives. And so as a parent, I just couldn't watch that. And so we Googled and we had searched and we looked, and I was like, but isn't there something that can be done? And they had figured out the disease. They knew about all those enzymes. They knew what the process was. They knew what the gene was, which is 80% of the battle is the gene. And so they found that. And so we just started talking to those researchers about what could be done. And then we found out there was gene therapy where they could correct the gene. And then we found out it was just a funding issue. Then it became money. And I was like, okay, so you're saying what's standing between children not being tortured is money. And so that just was like, all right, we got to do this.
Well, I mean, Amber, I bet when you think about COVID and this RNA technology and how quickly they got to a vaccine and the way they're using new technology, when you had scientists from around the world aligned around that, look how quickly we got to a vaccine.
I know.
And the same thing could happen with MSD, couldn't it?
Yeah. It's very cool. You get a bunch of smart people together, they can figure it out. And if money's no object, you can get it done quick.
Well, and what's happened, though, is that maybe from the moment that they first diagnosed this MSD as a specific issue through today, technology has changed so dramatically. What we're going to do, this is Amber Olsen. She is the founder of an organization focused on a condition called MSD. And we're having a conversation about her daughter, Willow, who has this terrible disease, and her determination to find a cure. When we come back, we can continue the conversation. We'll pick it up from there, talking about the advancements in technology and what might the next steps be. We'll see you after this break.
Coast Vue on SuperTalk 103.1 is brought to you by J. Allen Toyota on I-10 exit 38 Gulfport. See all the incredible inventory at allentoyota.com. And remember, when you think Toyota, think J. Allen Toyota.
SuperTalk.fm has a new look and is more informative than ever with expanded Mississippi news coverage, the latest Mississippi weather, Mississippi sports, and of course, the talk that's important to you. Every show, every podcast, and every late-breaking story. Constantly updating the news the second new developments happen. All in one place. The new SuperTalk.fm.
Hey, South Mississippi, it's J. Allen at J. Allen Toyota, and I got something new for you for 2021. It's the J. Allen Certified Collection. What that means is we selected our very best inventory with under 75,000 miles, and they're 6 years old or newer. That comes with a multi-point inspection, a 10-year, 100,000-mile warranty, and a 3-day buyback guarantee. So come check out the J. Allen Certified Pre-Owned Collection right here, I-10 exit 38 in Gulfport, or on allentoyota.com.
Feeling down? Here's your prescription for a daily dose of good news and positive vibes. Good Things with Rebecca Turner. Every afternoon, Rebecca highlights all the good things happening right here in the state you call home. Daily exposure to Good Things with Rebecca Turner may cause smiling, feelings of positivity, happiness, and even laughter. When you experience these symptoms, tell your friends to listen.
Okay.
Weekdays starting at 2 p.m. here on SuperTalk Mississippi and now on Amazon Alexa devices.
Hey, I'm Steve Azar, and you never know who or what you'll hear when I spend a Mississippi Minute with my friends. We're talking to Del Barra. Take me back to growing up and what it was like in the household with a dad like Yogi Berra.
You know, we grew up with his funny sayings. You know, I remember Dad managing the Mets, and me, Larry, and Timmy are watching the game on TV. And all of a sudden, two streakers run out of the stands on TV, and the camera slips away from them. So when he gets home, me, Larry, and Timmy say, "Hey, Dad, those streakers, what were they, boys or girls? We need to know." And Dad looked us right in the eye and said, "I couldn't tell. They had bags over their heads."
In a Mississippi Minute. Be sure to check out In a Mississippi Minute with me, Steve Azar, right here on SuperTalk Mississippi, the SuperTalk Mississippi app, and now available on iTunes, Google Play, and Stitcher.
106.3 Casino Radio is here. Tune to 106.3 to discover all of our must-see attractions and everything that's happening at our 12 incredible casino resorts. Where to eat, where to stay, what to do, and where to play. 106.3 Casino Radio has you covered with everything you need to know to help make your visit here to the coast one you'll never forget. Turn on 106.3 Casino Radio or listen now on our website, CasinoRadio1063.com.
SuperTalk Mississippi, your new home for the Ben Shapiro Show.
We don't hold back. We never shy away from telling you the truth.
The most electrifying national talk show on air today.
We have the most important guests and the biggest thinkers in America.
Ben Shapiro, brutally breaking down the issues of the day.
From politics to pop culture, we take a look at all of it. So don't miss out.
Weeknights at 9.
For something new and unique in talk radio, take a listen to The Ben Shapiro Show.
On SuperTalk Mississippi.
When COVID started, Gulf Coast Business Furniture and Supply began stocking hard-to-find PPE items. When Amazon and other mega internet companies were out of stock or inflating prices, Gulf Coast Business Furniture and Supply was providing local schools and businesses vital PPE supplies at fair prices. When your office needs PPE supplies, office furniture, or products to keep your business operating, consider Gulf Coast Business Furniture and Supply. We sell that too. Buy local.
Talking to the people that help make the coast such a unique place to live. This is Coast View with Ricky Matthews on SuperTalk Mississippi Gulf Coast 103.1.
Welcome back to Coast View. We have Amber Olsen with us today. It's a tough conversation. It's always a tough conversation when we're talking about a disease that affects a child. And, for those who listen to the show on a regular basis, I'm obsessed with doing everything in our power to make sure kids can have a happy, fulfilling life. And as a parent, I'm sure, Amber, it's just got to be just so heartbreaking to watch a child with a disease like Multiple Sulfatase Deficiency, MSD disease, which, as you said, cells are literally just going away before your very eyes, in much the way you described it as an Alzheimer patient, and the lights are slowly going out. That's the way you describe it, isn't it?
Yes. I mean, like she'll have her moments where she can clearly look at you and, there's recognition, but a lot of the times that, the lights are going out. It's just, she's losing that. She's fading right before our eyes.
And as we were talking before we went to the break, we now know what gene it is, and we even have a sense of what the therapy needs to be. So the question is really about funding and taking it the rest of the way. And you've got a scientific advisory board that you've put together. There are at least 3 global sister organizations that are focused on this. But what specifically needs to occur to get to a cure?
Yeah, so we fixed the disease in mice. So the mice don't normally live a full human life. They live about 2 years. And so our gene therapy treated mice, which would normally die in 7 days, lived a full mouse life. So we know it works. They've done all the testing on that. We've done a pre-IND with the FDA. Now we just have to do, manufacturing and get it to the clinic. And there's some supportive work that we have to do around that, like a natural history study. And that's one of our funding priorities this year. But, we just got to finish this up and do it. And I feel, like in the next couple of years, we'll have a clinical trial.
Wow. I mean, you feel so close, and you're holding your daughter, and it just saddens me to think about the way you describe this. It's like watching the lights go out inside of her. I wonder about your other daughters. How is this just a world that they've accepted, or are there dynamics in your family? But talk to me more about that.
Sure. So, it's a difficult life. I mean, Willow we have nurse care in our home. We have nurses in here almost all the time. And, she's total care. So she can't do anything on her own. So everything kind of surrounds around her. And so, as teenagers, that's difficult. They think the world surrounds them. And so, but, they've, just like with COVID and everything else, they adapt and they pivot and they do what they need to do. And it's going to make them stronger people in the long run. But it's a tough life.
Well, God bless you and your family. One of the things I wonder about is we hadn't talked about the statistics. How often does this occur in the U.S. and around the world? And do we know what causes it?
Yeah, so it is genetic. So there's my husband and I are carriers of the same bad gene. It's SUMF1. It is very rare. So it's like 1 in a million chances. It's actually 1 in 500,000, 1 in 500,000 prevalence. So we don't know of that many kids. They think there's probably about 700 in the U.S. In the world, probably a few thousand. So it doesn't affect that many. The technology that we're using, the gene therapy, the work that we're doing, it will help Alzheimer's and Parkinson's and other neurological conditions as well.
So your foundation is actually a 501(c)(3),
Yes.
and on a day-to-day basis, what does life inside your foundation look like?
It's between science and money. So I spent a lot of time on science calls. Actually, I was on one this morning. Our gene therapy was presented at a scientific conference, and so I was on there watching that. We discuss a lot about clinical trial design and those kind of things, and then fundraising. So I called myself the chief fundraising officer, which means I just tell the story over and over again and show Willow's face. And people on the coast have been amazing. Amazing. I mean, this is going to have a clinical trial because of people here on the coast. People in South Mississippi have done this. They're amazing.
What about legislative and congressional support?
Yeah, so the NIH does fund research for medical diseases and rare diseases. It's a long road. And so we did actually get the first MSD was mentioned in the appropriation bill in December this year. So that's a start. I've met with all of our senators and congressmen, and it's a long road. It's a long, slow road.
Yeah, isn't it sad, though, that people look at statistical occurrence and see a number and they say, okay, is this number worth the energy or the investment? It's unfortunate that that's even part of their calculus without saying, looking at Willow and saying, what can I do? I don't care if it's occurred only once. If we're 80% there and understand the genetics of it all, and we have some sense of what can possibly solve this, why wouldn't there be a full court press to solve the problem? It makes you want to scream, doesn't it?
It does. And Willow's story is not, a one story. There are millions of children with these rare diseases. There's 30 million kids that have rare conditions, and 5 million of them will die before the age of 5. Willow's story is not unique.
Well, look, we're out of time, Amber, but we'll come back to you in a few months and just check in and see how things are going. But you're an inspiration to me. I really hate it for you and your family, but you've taken this very difficult thing for your family, and you said, I am not going to take no for an answer. I'm going to do everything in my power to make a difference for Willow and other kids like her, and God bless you for that.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me.
You bet. This has been Amber Olsen, and have a great day. We'll see you tomorrow.
Broadcasting safe and sound from the coastal Mississippi studios, this is Coast View with Ricky Matthews on SuperTalk 103.1.